Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your WWE SummerSlam 2017 preview and predictions. How many matches do we have on the list? 13. Are you freaking kidding me? This is going to be a 5, possibly even 6-hour show. And, we don't live react to the pre-show, and we're going to continue not live reacting to the because if we do, we'll lose. We've got 3 pre-shows on this show. So, John, how are you feeling about this?
I'm feeling pretty hyped about this show, dude. I'm very excited, I guess, for this SummerSlam, at least for certain matches on this SummerSlam card. I mean, I can't lie. I am very hyped for the Fatal 4-Way match. That should be, very good. I'm very curious, what they're going to do about the whole Brock thing. I have come to my own conclusions about that, which obviously we'll address. Baron Corbin versus Cena has gained a whole new level of interest for me, and we're probably going to have a lot to say about that, given that we've kind of ceased SmackDown live reactions for the time being, so we couldn't give our immediate thoughts on that whole controversy. Love Rusev, so him getting a shot at a guy like Orton, that could mean bigger things. So you know what, on the whole, there are quite a few matches I'm looking forward to, whether it's because I'm a fan of the story being told as a whole, or really just because of one of the performers. In the case of Rusev and in the Universal Championship match, I have been adoring both Joe and Strowman. That I'm very torn on the fan side, even though objectively I'd like to think that I'm pretty clear. Hell, even the tag title match with Seth and Dean reuniting, simply because I adore Seth and it's the most interesting thing Dean has done in what feels like forever. I've even got some interest on that. So yeah, I don't know if there's any match on this SummerSlam card that I outright hate. And if it was there, it'd probably be on the pre-show. So I'd say my hype overall, I'm going to go to that place where I couldn't go with Brooklyn. I'd give it an 8.5 because I just think to see some of my favorites in big match situations has really got me more excited than not. So, yeah. I mean, where are you with the show right now?
I'm at a 7.5, but I am so glad that you didn't just completely fall off the map there. You scared the shit out of me.
Dude, you scared the crap out of me to start because you had major robot voice, but you've stabilized now, so I'm glad we all seem to be good.
My internet has been a real mark lately, so hopefully I don't have any more problems like that. And if I do, hopefully it resolves as quickly as it did this time. But that being said, do you want to get into the pre-show?
Absolutely, dude. Let's get into it.
All right, like I said, there are 3 matches on the pre-show, but 2 of them involve titles, so let's talk about the one that doesn't. The Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan versus The Miz with the Miztourage.
Yeah, didn't this pretty much happen on Raw and they're doing it again at SummerSlam?
Pretty much.
Again, this is one of those matches that I really don't care about. I'd say this and maybe one other match I have really no investment in. And again, that's out of 13 matches, so I guess that's still not too bad, all things considered. But, I have to give it to the baby faces. I don't see why the heels would win here. I mean, maybe because the baby faces, I think they won on Raw. Maybe the heels would get their win back. That's the only reason I'd be inclined towards the Miztourage. But I think they want to make Jason Jordan strong as a future IC title contender. So I'm just going to go with the more conservative bet, and I'm going to say baby faces win this.
Yeah, I agree. I would also, if I had to put money on this match, I would definitely pick Jason Jordan pinning The Miz to set up an Intercontinental title shot.
Yeah, probably the very next night on Raw, if I had to guess, because I don't think they're going to wait till No Mercy to do it.
And you know what? I could even see it. I could see them pulling the trigger on it too, because I get the feeling that even though Jason Jordan is supposed to be on the face team here, I get the feeling that whenever he and The Miz interact, the crowd is going to be behind The Miz. And I think that's going to continue on Monday into their Intercontinental title shot. So by putting the title on Jason Jordan, it'll get him a lot of heel heat, which might be the goal.
It might be. Jason Jordan's in such a weird place because, this angle is still kind of is still kind of a guilty pleasure for me. But we have kind of talked about, you and I privately, what a charisma vacuum Jason Jordan seems to be right now. I'm hoping that changes, but then again, miracles don't really seem to be WWE's department, so I don't really know. So maybe they're thinking, well, maybe if we try him as a heel that's like, yeah, I'm the product of Kurt Angle's semen. I'm gold-blooded. You know, that's the thing, too, was going to be his catchphrase. I'm proud to be gold-blooded. I mean, that just reeks of heeldom to me. So maybe that's the direction they're going. Who knows? But for the time being, I mean, they seem committed to be making Jason Jordan a babyface. And we know how WWE can be when they're committed for somebody being a babyface. So I'll just go with him for now and see what the fallout is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's match number 1 in the books, and we agree wholeheartedly. Let's get into our 2 championship matches. I'll leave it up to you what we just talk about first, Cruiserweight or SmackDown Tag.
Let's do Cruiserweight, because honestly, even though they're both on the pre-show, I still recognize this is the less important of the 2 matches. So
okay. Well, then let's just get into it. I think that Tozawa's got to retain here. You don't win the title on Raw and then immediately lose it on the pay-per-view when you're a good guy.
You know, and would you believe, Ashton, and again, like, everything you're saying makes sense. It's not you that I'm taking umbrage with, but would you believe that I've actually debated, like, whether or not Tozawa was going to keep this? Because, yeah, they're on the pre-show, so I don't really think you'd gain much doing a title change here, but when has WWE really adhered to that kind of logic?
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe you, and the only reason that it's not like, oh my God, John, you're crazy, they would never do that, is because LOL WWE. Like, their logic is terrible.
Really, the ideal situation is Akira does retain and Neville moves up to the heavyweight division, because right now, you know, I've been adoring his work for a long time, and while the character may be more debatable, I think his in-ring stuff has been on point. I mean, I don't want to commit hyperbole here. That's not my intention. But he really is kind of like the Kenny Omega to me of the division right now, where he just brings that legitimacy. He has that look, and you look at him and you're like, yeah, he can do so much more than what he's actually doing. Like, I could see this guy in a program with Seth Rollins like that. I mean, hell, we just got done seeing Finn Balor in a program with Elias Sampson. So, you know, I would love to see more for Neville, and that would be the ideal situation of him losing here. Does that mean it's going to happen? Of course not. WWE might say, well, you lost, but now you'll move on to a feud with Jack Gallagher or Cedric Alexander or whatever. That still doesn't answer the question of who I think is going to win, though. And I've really been hemming and hawing about this. And, oh God, you know what? I'm going to be conservative again. I'm going to say Tozawa retains, but I want it on record that I really struggle with this, because it would not surprise me if Neville gained the title back. It really wouldn't. You know, but I will go Tozawa retains. But, yeah, I really struggle with this.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I can understand why you struggled with it, just because, like, the fact they gave us this match on Raw and changed the title on Raw, we knew that we were getting this match on SummerSlam, is the most nonsensical thing. So WWE reintroducing us to the idea that they are nonsensical. They are really, they don't give a shit about logic. All they care about is just doing shit to entertain themselves. Like, they have no rhyme, they have no reason. They just do things for no reason, and because, oh, well, this will really screw with the fans. This will get buzz on Twitter. People will talk about this, even if it is in a negative light. So for that reason, I could see Neville regaining the title and going on another, like, 7 or 8 month reign, only to lose it back to someone important the Raw before WrestleMania. Because why the hell not, right?
I will say the best thing they did for this feud on the heel end with Neville, because here's the thing, I don't watch 205 Live. I don't go back, you know, when it's aired, when you and I are kind of having our off time and, like, catch up. I mainly do the YouTube clips of storylines that seem even remotely intriguing to me. And I watched Tozawa's celebration, and Neville came out, and he had, like, the makeup effect where his eyes seemed like sunken in, like he hadn't slept in like a week or ever since it happened, really. And he had a countdown clock, and he said, when that clock runs out, you know, so does your championship reign. And so I like that bit of hype. And that was another reason I thought, well, is Neville so crazed that he'd find a way to do it? But, yeah, I'm still going to say Tozawa retains, and I don't know who he'll face afterwards. Maybe Aria Daivari will get in a singles program with him, because they do have that fairly recent history, so there's no reason why you couldn't pick that back up again in a title feud. Plus, it would break up the monotony of it all. And then I don't even know what Neville does, but again, you already know my aspirations for him. Please, dear God, move up to the heavyweight division. I think his best stuff is ahead of him, you know, if he does that, so we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, really, I think Neville's best work historically has been with bigger guys.
Oh, for sure. Dude, that one match he had with Seth Rollins when Seth Rollins pulled a Cena and he had that WWE Championship Invitational, I thought was fantastic. And when he hit that red arrow, the arena they were in exploded, thinking we were going to get a new champion. Like, whether he's a heel or a face, as a heavyweight, I think Neville has that potential. And I'm not saying it's being squandered in the cruiserweight division, because I have enjoyed the Tozawa feud, and I think when you put him with the right guy, like a Swan, for instance, or a Cedric, like, magic can happen in his match with Jack Gallagher. But, like, again, so much more. I'm already envisioning a program with a guy like Seth Rollins and them just killing it. So Neville's the big question here. But, yeah, for now, regaining the cruiserweight title for a second time isn't in his future.
Yeah. And by the way, just because Neville weighs under 205 pounds doesn't necessarily mean he has to be in the cruiserweight division. Enzo Amore is under 205, even though he says, oh, I'm 206. No, he's not. He's like 195.
Right.
AJ Styles is probably close to 200 pounds. There are a lot of guys that are in the quote-unquote heavyweight division, which really, at this point, the heavyweight division is just everyone that isn't in the cruiserweight division, because it's WWE treats cruiserweights like special little snowflakes.
Yeah.
I mean, Sami Zayn probably weighs like 195, to be honest. So, yeah, I mean, really, Neville weighing 195, 190, 185, whatever he weighs, isn't going to, or it shouldn't, affect his ability to wrestle outside of the cruiserweight division. So, that being said, we both agree that Tozawa is retaining, but you had to think about it a lot longer than I did.
Yeah.
Match number 3 in the pre-show, New Day versus Usos. This is a tougher call for me, but I think I'm actually going to pick the Usos to win the titles back.
And you know what, dude? This is another championship match where, like you, I struggled. And mainly my thing was the New Day got done an obscenely long reign with the Raw Tag titles. Do we really want to replicate that with the SmackDown titles?
Yeah.
And in my mind, I don't think they do. But on the other hand, though, the tag division to me seems to be in such a weird place, because where does the New Day go after the Usos? I don't really know if there's like a discernible path. So, God, you know what? I'm actually going to throw in with you on this one. I feel like we haven't really had a disagreement yet. I'm tempted to pick the New Day and, again, go with a more conservative pick. But here I had the same gnawings as Neville Tozawa in our preceding discussion, except here I think it's even stronger because, again, New Day already had their historic run. This, to me, was just to buy time for whatever WWE's waiting for. Maybe the reemergence of Harper and Rowan or whatever, but maybe they have other plans. Maybe they have a bigger end game for this feud, and that's what I'm banking on. So, yeah, Usos to regain the tag titles. I'll throw in with you on that. Yeah, just something feels off about this.
Here's my guess. I'm thinking the Usos win the titles here, and then the New Day gets their rematch on SmackDown this coming Tuesday. And then on the following episode of SmackDown, on the, I guess, like August like 27th or 28th episode, 30th, I don't know, whatever the hell episode it is, the following week, our episode of Fashion Police that we get going to end up being like a hint at either the New Day or the Usos feuding with Breezango. And I think that that's going to lead to Breezango going after the titles.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Breezango going after the titles, I would be totally down with that. I'm still a fan of these guys. I still think they're making the writing, even if it is getting a bit like confusing and a bit like, okay, you're just leading us on a goose chase because you don't have anything. I still think the performers in themselves are doing quality work. And you know, I'll be honest. Here's my thing about that. I do like the idea of Breezango, and it's not another possibility. But if we're going to commit to Usos getting the title back, like, I smell a Ziggler Miz all over again, in the sense that I think Usos New Day would have a huge blow off at the next SmackDown pay-per-view. I wanted to say No Mercy, but that's Raw this year. So whatever the next big SmackDown pay-per-view is after SummerSlam, I think that's going to be the culminating final battle. Usos New Day, undisputed SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And then I think by that time you'd have either a new heel act or a new face act, depending on where you want to go, ready to feud. Even that, if that is, again, falling back on Breezango, maybe they'd be ready to actually go all the way and win the titles this time, and that would be the story. So,
it seems like the next SmackDown pay-per-view is Hell in a Cell in October, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had something between SummerSlam and Raw, the No Mercy show. They gave SmackDown a show between those. So, Because SmackDown or Raw, the No Mercy show is September 24th, and then Hell in a Cell is October 8th. So, like, are they really going to make SmackDown wait like 7 weeks before their next pay-per-view after SummerSlam? Or are they going to be like, oh, 3 weeks and you got one?
And dude, that is entirely. I mean, look, if you want me to be honest with you, and this may be my first bit of hyperbole in preview and predictions, because I know I've always got to do it at least one time per video, but I feel like this feud, I don't know if it's gotten to that level personally, but with their match quality, because everybody's been saying, like, these guys have been stealing the show at pay-per-views. In fact, I even heard there was a bit of a controversy with them even being on the pre-show, because their tag matches have been so consistently good. With the assaults, with New Day getting the chairs, like, who knows, dude? Given that Hell in a Cell is a SmackDown pay-per-view, I would not be surprised if they were like, let's do a tag team title match in Hell in a Cell. Because they throw that match at anything now. It isn't the same that it used to be when you and I were growing up or any of our fans were growing up and they knew Hell in a Cell to be something different. I would not be surprised if New Day Usos Hell in a Cell was on that match card. So I think that's another reason, too, I'm going Usos, because I'm thinking this feud isn't over. I'm thinking WWE still wants to tap a lot out of this feud. And I think the way you do that is through a title change. So, yeah, I'm throwing my lot in with you. I'm saying Usos regain the titles.
Yeah. The Usos are probably going to get the titles back here. And I think we're going to get a rematch 2 days later on the Tuesday episode of SmackDown. So that's my official prediction. We agree. We are 3 for 3. We agree on everything so far. And now we're going to get into some more interesting territory because we're going to the main show. And I wanted to get matches that didn't have any stakes and didn't have any stipulations out of the way first. So we're going to start with Orton Rusev. I'm actually picking Orton to win because LOL America wins.
Oh, God. See, and here's the thing. Another match I struggle. I'm sorry, guys, that I struggled so much with this. I can't remember the last time I struggled so much with the pay-per-view card on the whole. And it isn't that I haven't thought about these matches. On the contrary, I've thought about them quite a bit. It's just every time I feel like I'm comfortable in one assertion, that doubt creeps in my mind like, oh, are you sure? Are you really sure? You're going to sound so stupid if you say that live. But with Orton, he has had the pay-per-view losing streak that was brought to all of our attention. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe they'll continue that, which is why he beat Mahal non-title as kind of a buffer, rather than continuing to just lose. Plus, I think Rusev needs this, given that he lost the flag match, and he made a bold statement on the microphone that in an actual match, one-on-one, nobody can beat him. Like he said that. He said that was a flag match, wasn't a wrestling match. In a wrestling match, nobody can beat me. And to me, like, it's Rusev's credibility at stake here and not Orton's. And that it's proof. The proof of that is somebody had to alert me, or maybe it's just that I'm ignorant, that he was even on a pay-per-view losing streak to begin with, because I just see him as Randy Orton, and I don't see his stock falling. Rusev doesn't have that comfort. So subjectively, I'm obviously rooting for Rusev. And even if you tell me, or even if you ask me what the right thing to do is, I would still say Rusev. But objectively, no. I'm gonna go all the way with this one. I'm gonna say Rusev wins. And my only fallback is that Orton beat Mahal on TV. I think that was meant to be a buffer to kind of build Orton back up a little bit so that Rusev beating Orton would be more meaningful long term. So I'm going to say, yeah, Rusev gets the win. I think they really want to build him up as a monster heel. And they want to make his words that nobody can beat him one-on-one not ring hollow. I'm going to put my faith, which is very questionable at the moment, in this process and say that Rusev triumphs. So I'm going to go Rusev.
Well, like I said, I am picking Orton. As far as logic goes, there really isn't any. Just at the end of the day, we know how Vince is. I mean, hell, at WrestleMania a couple years ago, he made the whole story seem like WWE versus WCW, even though it wasn't. And as soon as that whole thing clicked, you knew he was going with his guy, with Triple H over Sting. At the last show, we made Cena versus Rusev about America versus other countries. Of course, Cena won. I think same deal. Even though Orton should win and it would make the most sense for him to win and he needs it more, I said Orton there, didn't I? I meant Rusev. Even though Rusev should win and it would make the most sense and he needs it more, I still think that they're going to end up giving it to Orton just because of Vince's national pride.
It's disgusting. Yeah, I can't even. It's not even that I can really be argumentative with you, dude, because I see all the points you're making. It's just like Orton's really done everything there is to do, and I think restitution needs to be made for the flag match and just the whole botching of the angle of him making demands of Shane, which then that just went to Mahal. And maybe this is them now giving Rusev his own path. One could only fucking hope. So, yeah, I'm just going to go Rusev. If I'm wrong, though, would anybody be shocked? I wouldn't be. I'm just hoping for the best here.
Yeah, I hope you're right. And, I mean, if we last show logic, Orton got the last laugh on the most recent episode of SmackDown, so Rusev would win by that logic, but I just can't look past Vince being such a hardcore patriot.
Yeah, for sure.
So, up next, we'll talk about Raw's version of Orton Rusev. Basically, two upper card guys that could be main eventing that aren't, that just kind of have a random match with no stakes against each other. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt.
And this is the other match outside of the six-man tag that I care so little about. You know, it's weird to me because, like, at first I thought, well, Bray's got to be on the mend. He beat Seth twice in a row, breaking the 50-50 rule. And then he beat Finn Balor in their first encounter, which was originally supposed to be at SummerSlam, but they hot-shot it to TV. But we know that Finn's going to win here, if for no other reason, because he's bringing out the Demon, which that's another reason I don't care, because here's the thing. Let me make something perfectly clear, and I'm kind of showing my hand a little bit before next Thursday with our second installment of 5 Fave 5. But Finn has been doing a lot for me in terms of me enjoying the Raw product. I love Finn. Shout out to Stephen Herman, who I know he's a huge Finn Balor mark. And I'm becoming one myself. I love how the guy works. We've always talked about his look. We've always talked about his potential. And I see him using the Demon here when I just always had this image of him using it, getting his Universal Championship rematch, which he's still fucking owed, just to remind everybody in the room. And it just leaves me so deflated. And it's not that I hate Bray, but I mean, come on. Like, you could really like a guy, but you got to see it for what it is. You know, he's been booked like shit, and, you know, them doing this quote-unquote rehabbing just so he could lose to a Demon that doesn't even need to be brought out. To me, it's a mess. That's just the God-honest truth how I feel about this match. It's a mess. Balor wins. I'm sure it'll be decent. But to be honest, again, like, I love Finn, and all I'm thinking about is him getting his rightful Universal Championship rematch. I want to be interested in the Universal title picture, and I am invested in the main event, which we'll talk about later. But, like, I'm just waiting for guys like Seth and Finn to get their chance, especially Finn, because the story's there. And, yeah, I mean, we'll see when and if that ever happens. But Bray's a roadblock, and I think it's a roadblock he's going to overcome. So, Finn for the win.
That's fair, man. That's fair, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely picking Finn just because Demon. And they couldn't have made it more obvious if they tried with the booking of Bray Strong and even having him beat Finn on the Go Home Raw. It's like, wow, you're really, really trying to sort of convey that Bray is, like, good now, that he's better than Finn. But as soon as Finn puts on that makeup, it's over. Like,
yeah,
he's undefeated for a reason, and he's going to remain undefeated as the Demon. And I say undefeated, and that's more referring to the main roster, because I know he did lose to Joe as the Demon one time in NXT in a cage match, but that's the only time he's ever lost as the Demon, and that was a big blow-off to a big feud, and he hasn't lost since. And in his one or two appearances as the Demon on the main roster, he's also undefeated. So, Demon Balor for the win, obviously. Let's move on. Up next, well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We have two matches left. One of them doesn't have any stakes or stipulations. The other one doesn't have any stakes and a stipulation. But the one that doesn't have any stakes or stipulations is still a way bigger deal than the one that has the stipulation. So we're going to talk about the stip match first. The Big Show versus Big Cass with Enzo Amore in a shark cage.
See, and the only reason I'm invested in this match is because of, you know, where does Big Cass go from here? Because after you said he got nuclear heat in that one segment, you know, he does have a good look. I do think his promos could be better, but if he's getting the kind of heat he's getting, maybe he's in a good place right now, and he'll have a bit of a comfort zone, a bit of a buffer to up his game. So, yeah, Cass is the only reason I'm interested. I think he'll win here. Unless, because Enzo, who I don't even know what to say about Enzo anymore, because I felt I was really like gravitating to him as a face, and then I've heard kind of the heat he's been getting lately, allegedly, and stuff like that, and now he's being put in this shark cage, and I'm like, wow, is this just going to be Enzo's career trajectory? Regardless, unless he does any shenanigans and tries to, you know, drop something down to Big Show or something, I see no reason why Cass shouldn't win this. So I'm going to go Big Cass. I'm going to say he beats the Big Show here. I think he needs this win, and I think here's the thing. We talked about Vince's personality. I don't know if even he's crazy enough to pass up on a guy like Big Cass to defer to a veteran that's really got nothing left to prove. So Cass for the win for me.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry, but I genuinely think that you are way letting your heart talk over your brain here, because to me, like, there's no way Cass is winning this. Big Show, like, Cass is going to dominate most of the match as heels do, but Big Show's going to hit one knockout punch with his left hand, and he's going to freaking win with it. So, yeah, I'm picking Big Show to win for sure. This, like, the match is going to be horrible. There's no doubt in my mind, but the Big Show's still winning to me. Like, haven't there been 2 shark cage matches over the last year or so? Because I know we had the one with Ellering hung in the shark cage. What was the other one? It was Jericho in the shark cage, right? Yeah,
Royal Rumble, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns and Jericho in the shark cage.
And Owens won that, didn't he?
He did, thanks to Braun Strowman.
Yeah, but my point is, both of those matches, the team or the person that was represented by whoever was in the shark cage still won the match. So that's happening again today, this time, with Big Show having Enzo up in the cage. Big Show's still winning. I'm telling you, Show's got this. Like, I don't want him to win. I'm hoping Cass does go over, because obviously he's the younger, more of a future kind of talent, but the Big Show is 100% taking this.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I still got to go with Cass here, because I could even see a spot, given that they had Strowman kick out of the punch, you know, the knockout punch in their recent bouts. I don't know if Cass will full-blown kick out, but him being a heel, I could see him getting a limb on the rope. I think that move is finally starting to lose its efficacy a little bit as Big Show's in the twilight stages of his career, and that's going to be where the arena lets out that collective gasp, like, what? Boo! Cass didn't lose. And then Cass just comes back with the boot or whatever finisher he'll use. I could even see him getting like an Andre-type spot where he slams the Big Show. And, you know, I really see an impressive...
Do you think Cass is strong enough to even do that, honestly?
I mean, maybe not strong enough, but I'm sure Big Show will give him the necessary assistance. I just think they want Cass to come out as $1 million here and really put Enzo and Big Show in the rear view before he moves on to other stuff. So,
see,
yeah,
I don't think this is over. I mean... we did predict that this was going to happen before the Enzo Cass match even happened. Like we said, it was going to be Enzo Cass at that pay-per-view, and then we were going to get Cass Big Show at SummerSlam. We saw this coming a mile away, but I think Cass is going to end up losing to Big Show here and then being pissed about it and continuing to go after Big Show. We might even get Cass versus Big Show at No Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, because again, seeing as how No Mercy is the Raw pay-per-view,
or hell, we might even get like a tag team match. Like we might get Cass and a new partner versus Show and Enzo.
I mean, that could be. I think for the time being, I'll stick with Cass. But I mean, you do have a good point about thinking about the No Mercy card, because there's going to be a lot of fallout from SummerSlam that's going to lead to No Mercy, and I'll be
a lot of rematches from SummerSlam. I'm expecting.
I could agree with that, and don't worry, like you brought up No Mercy for this match. There are matches where I'll be thinking about No Mercy as well later in our preview and predictions, but for now, I'll stick with Big Cass. And again, if I'm wrong, wouldn't be the first time, but am I really wrong, or is WWE wrong long term? So there you go. But
don't get me wrong, I agree that Cass winning would be the correct decision, but we're not fantasy booking here. We're predicting. We're trying to predict what's going to happen, and just knowing the way WWE is, there's very little doubt in my mind that Big Show's winning this. So this is the first match that we are, I guess, the second match that we really have difference of opinion on, because we did disagree on Orton Rusev, although we both agreed that we both wanted Rusev to win. And this is the same thing here. We both agree that we want Big Cass to win. I'm just a lot more jaded than you, apparently.
Right. Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. I mean, you know, the company made you that way. So
well, and we might be on opposite sides of this next one, too, because I'm going to take the jaded route on the next one as well. John Cena versus Baron Corbin.
Oh, okay. I've been waiting all video to talk about this match, because I'd say this and the Universal Championship match were the matches I was most excited to talk about. but you need to go first. Because if I go first, I'm going to rant on this motherfucker, and I don't know when I'll stop. So you go first.
Okay, well, here's the thing. My prediction for this match affects something that I think is going to happen on this show that is going to be horrible decision after horrible decision after horrible decision. So, first of all, I do think Cena's winning. I am picking John Cena to win this match because really it just seems like they don't have any interest in making Baron Corbin credible, but that also applies to a lot of Money in the Bank holders. So that being said, I do think Cena's winning this, but I don't think Corbin's night will be over after that.
Interesting. Here, I'm going to throw an idea out there to you. Before I go on my little thing about everything, there is something I want to ask you, because we are thinking about pay-per-views, and, you know, I keep wanting to say No Mercy, but I got to remember that that's Raw and that Hell in a Cell is SmackDown. Do you think SmackDown could be gearing up for its own fatal four-way? Corbin, Nakamura, Mahal, Cena. Do you think Cena would even be back in time for October with his shooting and shit? Because I'm thinking all four of these guys aren't done with each other. I mean, and I'm guessing you would agree with that to an extent, or no? Like, where do you?
No, I think. Oh man, I do think we're gonna get Cena Mahal at No Mercy. I'm thinking that's gonna be our main event. Or I mean, technically it could be Cena Nakamura, but I guess I just kind of spoiled my pick for the WWE title match. But I do think Cena Mahal is going to happen at No Mercy, or not at No Mercy, at Hell in a Cell, or whatever pay-per-view comes next for SmackDown, or maybe even just on a random episode of SmackDown. I don't know. Yeah, I think Cena's winning this, and he's going to move on to bigger and better things. We just had Keith in chat say Cena's going to Raw. I genuinely hope we don't get another superstar shakeup after this. That would be like way too much turbulence among the rosters. I don't think that they're giving anyone a chance to really settle in on their show anymore, which is a horrible decision. But yeah, I think Cena's winning this. And it just got another person saying Cena's going to Raw. Where the hell are you guys coming up with this? Like, who are you hearing this whole Cena is going to Raw thing? Like, the free agent thing was debunked on literally the last episode of Talking Smack when Daniel Bryan was like, oh yeah, what's up with that whole Cena's a free agent thing? He's here on SmackDown. He's not a free agent, guys. They said that for like 2 weeks and then backed out of it because WWE can't make up their damn minds.
Yeah, I mean, all the same, just to kind of give my full thoughts on this match, because I've only really kind of fielded that question to you about Hell in a Cell. Oh dear God, that cash in,
dude. This match, like this match was made so much more interesting in all the worst ways on this past episode of SmackDown.
Oh yeah, well, because I mean, the big divide, Ashton, is you've got people, and I'm not making fun of those people. I'm not coming down on those people. I'm just saying there are two different camps that I see. One that's saying that Corbin's done, Corbin's finished, Corbin's buried, and then the other that says, no, Corbin's going to roar back now and he's going to destroy John Cena. The only person that was ever permitted to destroy John Cena was Brock fucking Lesnar. So immediately I'm skeptical, right? Because it's John Cena.
There's no way Corbin is going to quote unquote destroy Cena. But if Corbin does win, it's whatever. I don't think he's going to, though. Like I've got, you know what? Screw it. We're doing preview predictions. There's no real reason for me to hold back on my actual predictions. I think Corbin is going to lose to Cena here, but there are going to be kind of something over the course of the night that shows Corbin lobbying to Shane McMahon and or Daniel Bryan. I should never have lost my Money in the Bank briefcase because Jinder's feet were in the ropes while he was pinning me. That was an illegal pin. It should have never been counted. I should still have my briefcase. He's going to get his briefcase back, and he's going to successfully cash in on the Jinder Nakamura match.
Oh, okay. So
that's what I am officially saying is going to happen. That's my official prediction.
Yeah, see, I love the idea, right? I have nothing against the idea. And again, like, if they did that, that would kind of open up the pathway for what I kind of fielded to you earlier about a big multi-man match for their Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Because I don't think these four men, Nakamura, Jinder, Cena, and Corbin, are done with each other. I just don't. I think there's more to be done here. That said, there was a big hubbub made about Jinder's foot, and I was curious if Shane or Daniel addressed it on their Twitters. Last I checked, they have not. So it could be a SummerSlam angle. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give my prediction both with that in mind and without it in mind, saying that it's not going to happen. If that doesn't happen, if Corbin doesn't get his briefcase, I think Corbin's going to win here. I mean, Cena's going off to film. There's no reason for him to win right now if he's not going to immediately capitalize on it with a WWE title match to me.
Oh, dude, I'm telling, how many times have we said he doesn't need to win this about John Cena, and then he goes on to win it anyway?
That's a valid point, but because see, if only I knew what they were going to do with the briefcase, I could make a more confident prediction. Because if this is really how things stand, and it's like, no,
okay, well then let's do a range of outcomes project. Let's assume that Jinder's feet being in the ropes was not intentional. They're not going to acknowledge that it happened. Corbin's cash-in was real, and he's not getting his briefcase back, and they're not even going to acknowledge that he shouldn't have lost that match in the first place. What do you think happens here?
I say he wins. But if he does get his briefcase back, I would say that Cena would win. So because then, like you, I could definitely see Corbin cashing in. We've seen people on pay-per-views before they cash in. Like I remember when Edge did his first cash-in, he lost a match to Ric Flair earlier in the night. Seth, when he cashed in at WrestleMania, lost to Orton earlier in the night. So it's the furthest thing from unprecedented. So yeah, if we knew that Corbin would get his briefcase back somehow, yeah, I'd be fine with Cena winning and then Corbin cashes in later because, you know, I don't want to give my hand away for the WWE title match, but let's say that there'd be a way that we could protect either Shinsuke or Jinder and just keeping all four guys in this conversation. But given that I don't know if Corbin's going to get his briefcase back, which is the outcome I have to go with because I've been given no indication otherwise by sources that actually matter, I'm just going to say that Corbin wins. Like he got done so dirty to me. And given that Cena's going to be off filming a movie, and you know what, dude, what you said earlier about how many times have we said it? You are 150% right. But you know what? Even despite that, that doesn't mean that like this shouldn't be the call. And will it be the call that WWE makes? I mean, I would hope. Now, to address one more thing, the heat that Corbin's been getting. I don't even know how much stock I put into that. The guy's a heel. He's doing his job. He's actually using social media more effectively than most that I see in terms of like still garnering that reaction. If WWE isn't classy enough to just pull him aside and say, hey, Baron, tone it down a little. You know, you're doing great, but you got to pick and choose your battles. And they're really this petty about it, which to be fair, wouldn't surprise me either.
Wouldn't surprise anyone.
Fucking disgrace. Exactly. Wouldn't surprise anyone, but it's a fucking disgrace. I, again, for whatever reason, I'm going to have faith that they're not that petty this one time, and they're going to say, okay, you know what? We did him dirty, but maybe because we just want to give him a more legitimate path to something, maybe we just do want to have a hodgepodge kind of match at Hell in a Cell, so let's have him beat Cena, and then Nakamura Jinder, we'll talk about that later, and then, you know, I'm John Cena, so me losing really doesn't affect anything. You know, I don't know. I'm just going to go with Corbin to win, and if Corbin loses, I will say this too, just so you have it on record. If Corbin loses, in my heart, I'm just going to think that night, maybe I'll bounce back from it, but that night I'm going to say he's done. Because really, what the fuck? You make him lose his briefcase, you make him lose to Cena. Couldn't get the Intercontinental title back at WrestleMania, which we're excited about. Like, I'm just wondering if this guy's going to be perpetually stuck in first gear. If he doesn't beat Cena here, it's going to really be hard for me to be optimistic about his prospects. So for me as a fan, this is kind of a must-win for Corbin after the just horrendous booking on Tuesday. So any final thoughts you want to share about this match? Because I know this is one of the bigger hot-button matches on the SummerSlam card.
Well, the ironic thing is, like, I already kind of did my range of outcomes project on my own, and I think that, to me, the two most likely possibilities regarding the cash-in are either A, what I just mentioned is exactly what happened, and Jinder's feet weren't meant to be in the ropes. That was unintentional. Acknowledge it. They're going to act like that didn't happen. Corbin lost the briefcase, and the cash-in was a real thing, and he lost for real, and it's all real. In which case, why the hell would the WWE go from burying the shit out of him on TV to letting him beat their top draw on pay-per-view? That would make no sense to me. If they hate him so much that they wanted to bury him as hard as they did on TV, they're not going to stop burying him on pay-per-view. He's losing to Cena in that case even harder than he would otherwise, because then that tells me he's in the doghouse for something and they're going out of their way to punish him. So second option is Corbin cashed in. Corbin got rolled up by Jinder. He had his feet in the ropes. WWE is going to acknowledge that. That was intentional. That's going to be part of an angle. They're going to use it to give Corbin back the briefcase. And Corbin's going to cash in on either Jinder or Nakamura, or just cash in on that match and win the match the way Rollins did on Lesnar Rollins. In that case, I still think Cena's going to beat Corbin, because they like to have guys lose a match earlier on in the night before cashing in on pay-per-views that they're cashing in on.
Right. Dude.
So to me, all of the most likely outcomes lead to Corbin losing to Cena here.
And you know what's funny is, like, let's not forget, and here's the thing, if there was one match where I would have a last-minute sway in predictions, it would be this one. Not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying, like, very shaky ground that this match rests on.
Yeah.
They had a match earlier in the year on SmackDown, and to me, Corbin looked like a chump. I'm sorry. I adore Corbin.
Yeah.
But
I'm not entirely sure that Cena isn't lobbying against Corbin. Like, you've got Cena just, I mean, we've always kind of known that Cena is the type to be like the backstage politician. Like, between the rumors and people coming out and straight up saying that he's done it and that kind of stuff, all the evidence points to Cena being a backstage politician, and a lot of evidence points to Cena straight up just not liking Corbin. Like, he buried him on the mic, called him a skinny fat dumpster fire on the mic. He buried him in the ring before, where Corbin and Cena hit his moves of doom and won instantly. There's no doubt in my mind that John Cena is politicking to beat Corbin, because he's burying Corbin backstage. He's like, oh, this guy's a joke. This guy's awful. This guy can't do shit. This guy, why the hell do you build this guy up as a main eventer? He's no good. He's bad. He sucks, whatever. And that shit works. He's winning. I'm telling you, dude. Like, I'm not trying to sway you, because as soon as I successfully, result ends up being the opposite. But to me, like, all signs point to Cena winning this.
And again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have a leg to stand on, saying otherwise. Hell, I just read a story recently about Cena doing that to Dolph. And then Vince in a meeting said, guys, I think we should pull back on this. This just really isn't fair to John. And I'm just like, what? But, regardless of who Cena is or what any of this is, I just, God, man, Tuesday was fucking awful. I still can't believe they fucking did that to him. But at the same time, again, I already admitted it. If I'm wrong and Corbin loses, to me, he's done. Like, if Corbin loses this, and I'm not trying to commit hyperbole here, so I'm only speaking for myself. For me, Baron Corbin enters that Bray Wyatt territory where I just do not care. Like, I'll always be a fan of the performer, I'll always root for them on some level, but you're really not going to get me to care, because I'm going to be afraid of just being disappointed all over again. So he has to win this for me. That said, does he objectively win? I don't know. I mean, I'm picking him to, and I'll stand by it, because, I mean, my God, if you can't win after a man screwed you out of the most important moment of your career, what even are you? But if that does happen, I guess that answers that question, doesn't it? So I'll stick with Corbin on good faith that you wouldn't want to do a man that bad. But, I mean, it's certainly within WWE's record to do so. So we'll see where they fall Sunday. But I'm definitely going to be keeping a very close eye on this match for sure.
Well, and that's why I said coming into this that what my most likely outcome is bad booking decision after bad decision after bad decision, because really the first bad decision was Corbin cashes in and loses in 6 seconds after the guy that he's cashing in on lost a 15-minute match. The second bad decision is Corbin loses to John Cena, even though he's supposed to be getting some kind of credibility back after losing most of it on Tuesday. And then the third bad booking decision is, Baron Corbin, with literally zero credibility left, becomes the world champion.
Yeah.
It's just bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. And that's exactly why I think they're going to do it, because it's WWE and they're known for this shit.
They are, but you know what? I've already made my prediction. You've made yours. You've argued yours exhaustively. I feel like you used every logical point in the book. And me, I'm just going on blind faith at this point, because really, if WWE disappoints me again with Cena, it wouldn't be a surprise. But I'm like, damn, you need to give Corbin this. Because to me, if they have Cena win, it really is Corbin's public execution. You're shooting him in front of everybody, and you just don't give a shit. So we're going to see. We're going to see. But what's our next match?
Our next match is our first match on the main show that involves a championship. Cesaro versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
You know what? I'm gonna keep this very short and sweet. You know what? It's funny. I'm gonna tell you my original mindset for this match. Because if the Revival didn't get injured, I was going to say that they were going to win their little triple threat tag match because I expected that happening. You know, Hardys versus the Club versus Revival. I thought Revival were going to win, and I was going to pick Seth and Dean to actually win the tag title so we'd get a Seth and Dean and Revival feud. And don't act, everybody, like that doesn't make you pitch hard in your goddamn tents because I know it made me pitch in my tent. That said, because the Revival's out, I'm actually going to say Cesaro retains here. I think Seth and Dean are going to have a miscue after working so hard to rebuild this trust, and we're still going to be dragging this shit out because WWE really seems to be liking the slow burn for this. Even though they had a big moment on Monday where they finally bumped fists, I think that's going to come completely undone at a pivotal point in the match. Cesaro's going to capitalize, and they're going to retain. And really, I hope the Revival gets well soon because if they were healthy, I totally would have gone with Dean and Seth in this because I that's just the vision that I had. But because they're unhealthy and because we're having the Hardys and the Club in a six-man tag, or no, that's Miztourage, but I don't even know what the Club is doing if they're even on this card.
They're not on the card.
So, yeah, there you go. Cesaro's totally retaining because there's just no recourse. What do you think about this match?
Yeah, my whole argument is that Dean and Seth are baby faces. Incredible babyface team on Raw right now, other than them, is the Hardy Boys. And the Hardy Boys are just coming off of a long tag title run. So I do think Dean and Seth are going to win because then they have a lot of competition to go against. And specifically, then they'll get a rematch with Cesaro. Then they'll have the Club. Then they'll get the Revival. So I think that there's a long enough line of heel teams to stall for the Revival to get back Ambrose and Seth. So that's my official prediction. I do think that they're going to win. I think the Revival is eventually going to come back, and I think that they're going to be the ones to take the titles off of Seth and Dean. WWE's way of giving Seth and Dean something to do without them being in the world title picture for the next 4 or 5 months.
Oh, well, what else is new? Because they've been away from that picture for God knows how long, especially Seth.
I agree with you. That's true, but people have also been complaining about it. But if they're tag team champions, people are less likely to complain. Because let's be real, even though you and I are both highly disappointed that Cesaro is currently a tag team, means he's a tag team singles wrestler, we complain about it a whole hell of a lot less than we did when he was just a singles wrestler doing nothing.
That is true. That is true. It is always good to see.
And that would apply to Ambrose and Rollins as well when they're tag team champions. So, yeah, I'm rolling with Rollins and Ambrose to win this pretty confidently.
Wow, you know what? This is actually the case where I hope you're right. Because I've actually really enjoyed this Dean-Seth story. I think Seth's whole redemption arc has been very resonant with me. He's one of my favorite babyfaces in the company. And Dean's always the case where I'll never actively hate him, but I want to be a bigger fan of his than I have been. And I feel like I haven't been given a reason to by WWE, and maybe I'm starting to now with these guys reuniting. But I remember all that time ago when Twitwow was still embryonic, and we were talking about a Dean Ambrose and his potential, and I'm still waiting for him to have that big angle that shows everybody how fucking good he is. And I don't know if it's ever going to happen, but this is some quality stuff he's doing. So even though I'm sticking with Cesaro, I'm actually pulling for you in this one, bud, because I think him and Seth as tag champions would be a hell of a lot of fun. So, yeah, I'm with you there.
All right, well, now we can move on. Match is Naomi versus Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
I'm just going to come out and say it, dude. I think Naomi wins and Carmella isn't cashing in. I think because we got to cash in as recently as this past Tuesday, they're not going to do two cash-ins so close to each other. At least that's my opinion. I think Carmella's going to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, Naomi's going to retain. I see no reason to put the belt on Natalya right now, especially when we've got Lana taking Tamina under her wing. I think that could be the SmackDown Women's Championship match at Hell in a Cell, and Carmella may cash in then. So yeah.
I agree with every single word you just said to the letter.
Wow. Okay. So you got nothing to add then? Because, yeah, that's my prediction. Naomi wins. Carmella doesn't cash in. I'd put her cashing in at Hell in a Cell, actually, after Naomi retains against Tamina. So
exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah, you are in my brain right now, my friend. That's to the letter exactly what I was going to say.
Holy shit. Well, then can we just move on to the next match? Because that's never happened, and I kind of want to keep going while we're hot. So
Alexa Bliss versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship.
And this is where I get evicted from your headspace. You have amazing, amazing internet, by the way.
I wish my real internet was as good as the internet in my brain.
I know, right? I'm actually going to field this to you, man, because I'll be honest, I'm kind of torn on this, and I think Bayley's a big reason why, and No Mercy is a big reason why. Where are you kind of with this match? Do you even, like, are you having any doubts, or are you pretty clear-cut? No, John, this is what's happening.
I'm like 70-30.
Okay, so 70-30 in what direction, though, is the bigger question. That Alexa retains?
Yep, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. God damn. You know, because I know this is going to be the preview predictions where it's like John waffles a lot, so bring your ice cream for those waffles. But yeah, I think ultimately
I was going to suggest syrup, but I guess that works too.
Yeah, syrup works too, but ice cream and waffles, though, such a delicious combination.
Honestly, I've never had it. I've never had ice cream and waffles before.
If I knew it wouldn't rip my intestines apart, I would be the one to introduce it to you, but you're going to have to find another another druid to introduce you to the secrets of the flavor. But, God damn it, because to me, they keep Nia Jax on the burner, where they could turn the heat up at any moment. And she's been having a lot of matches with Sasha lately, because between the gauntlet and then them doing the tournament and then those two meeting up again in the finals, that to me, with how WWE, with how lazy they've been with their women's division, that reeks to me of like their go-to match. Oh, guys, we need something for the Raw Women's Championship match for the No Mercy pay-per-view. It would either be the Alexa-Sasha rematch, or it would be Sasha-Nia again. I'm not even going to go into Emma territory, because I want to believe that this whole give Emma a chance and her like lobbying for opportunities while still being a heel, that maybe she'd luck into something. But I've been hurt so many times by Emma's like non-pushes, I'm not even going to go into that territory. So I'm very torn. And then there's Bayley, because I have no idea when Bayley's coming back. And honestly, like, I was one of those people drinking the Kool-Aid deep of like, oh yeah, Sasha Bayley's going to be the big angle. And it might still be, but if it's going to happen, I see it pushed back all the way to WrestleMania season. I wouldn't even believe that we were going to get any hints of that until January. So with that in mind, I think right now Alexa's going to retain, and honestly, maybe she won't even lose it until Bayley comes back, whenever that is, and then we do Bayley Sasha soon afterwards for WrestleMania season, because yeah, I just really don't see any rhyme or reason to give Sasha the belt right now. I think Alexa's still been doing great work, if not a bit underappreciated, given the whole Bayley controversy and everything. And these two have real life heat with each other, which is probably going to be exploited, for this match. I hope they get a decent amount of time. And yeah, I'm going to go with you and say that Alexa retains, and I think she's going to keep it until Bayley comes back, and then she'll beat Alexa for it. So there you go.
See, we were just talking about waffles and ice cream, and I've never had that, but Paul just said in chat that he's never had chicken and waffles. It's out so hard. You need chicken on waffles with chicken gravy on top. It is amazing.
See, and I've never had that either, if I'm honest. So hearing you say that,
they're both missing out big time. It's awesome.
I'll take your word for it, man. I'll take your word for it.
The only reason that I know is because we have like a little fair, a local fair in the area called the Hinkelfest, and I used to go there all the time, and they have chicken and waffles there, and I used to get it, and it's really good.
Sounds intriguing. I'm definitely going to keep it in mind, my man. But for the meantime, we both agree Alexa's retaining. What's the next match I'm going to waffle on here?
I'm surprised we agree that Alexa's retaining, but the way that they've portrayed it, yeah, she's totally retaining. And then if Bayley isn't back by No Mercy, I think Nia is going to go after Alexa.
I could see that. I feel like Alexa's going to use up the rope of being Nia Jax's quote-unquote friend, and it's going to catch up.
You're my best friend!
Yeah. So we'll see. But yeah, I do think if the end game really is Bayley Sasha, which I'm starting to grow strained with that as well, it's definitely got to be the WrestleMania angle at this point with all the starts and stops that it's had. You might as well put it off completely until it can really matter again. So yeah, I could agree with Alexa Nia for No Mercy for sure.
Yeah. All right. So then that was our two women's matches. The only three matches we have left are U.S. title, WWE title, Universal title. So which of these 3 matches would you rather talk about first?
Honestly, dude, the order that you laid them out in, if that's agreeable to you, that's certainly agreeable to me.
All right, let's talk about the U.S. title. AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon as the special guest referee.
You know what? I'm just gonna be that guy. I'm gonna say that I'm totally marky. I'm gonna say that AJ wins, so he's gonna retain, and I am totally buying into the rumors of a Shane Kevin Owens feud. Maybe again I'm marky to do so, but I don't think you'd put Shane as referee just for that one-off. I really do think the little tension that him and Kevin Owens have been having recently, and then trying to fake tension on both sides when really you want to keep the tension on Owens Shane, is going to lead to something. So I say Styles retains, but then Owens goes on to feud with the boss, and then God knows what Kevin does after that. Maybe it's their way of elevating him. I don't know. But for the time being, AJ Styles is still going to be our U.S. champion.
Get Shane versus Kevin Owens in a Hell in a Cell?
Oh, God, we might. Jesus Christ. I don't even want Shane in a Hell in a Cell again after the disaster that was his last Hell in a Cell match.
I mean, to be fair, that was against an old, decrepit Undertaker, and this would be against Kevin freaking Owens, right?
That is true. That is true. And you know I adore KO. But in a Hell in a Cell, could they make it that personal? I mean, Kevin is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Not pathetic. It's kind of synonymous with pathetic.
Cowardly.
A needy, you know, a pathological liar. There's
whiny.
Whiny. There was one word I was looking for. It was probably one of those, to be fair. But yeah, like, he's so into himself. He believes his own hype that, like, if Shane screwed him out of the U.S. title, you would have thought he spit in the face of God himself. Delusional would be another one. Like a megalomaniac, just thinking that he's bigger than he actually is and more powerful. So, yeah, Styles retains. Kevin takes it out on Shane. Narcissistic's another one. You know what? Let's just say narcissistic was the one I was thinking of.
I keep waiting for me to say one of these words, and you'd be like, that's the one I was looking for.
I feel like it started with a petty, maybe was the word I was also thinking of. He's so petty with stuff like this that, yeah, I could totally see him turning on Shane after the fact. And, yeah, so... What do you think? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or do you think there's going to be an upset here or what?
Yeah, I think AJ's winning. I think he's going to retain for the first time, seemingly ever. Going to take it out on Shane, and he might even do like a full-blown like AJ Styles beatdown on Shane, similar to what Styles did to Shane leading up to their Mania match. So I think it makes sense that AJ's going to win. Owens is going to be pissed and take it out on Shane, and he might even go as far as to, like, I don't know, apron powerbomb Shane. Would anyone be surprised?
I wouldn't be surprised at all. It's about time they brought that shit back in, like, its effective heel capacity.
You would relish the shit out of that.
I do. I mean, just the idea of Shane's sons seeing their father so decrepit and broken. Daddy?
Oh, I hope they're in the front row.
Yes. And then I wish I was there so I could come into view like one of those TV narrators and say, enjoy the rest of your father's life on oxygen. And then they cry and I put champagne glasses under their eyes.
Your inner Charlotte there?
Absolutely. And then I'm going to put champagne glasses under their eyes while everybody lives react to me drinking their tears. Salty. But yeah, Styles to retain on. Well, actually, no, not unfortunately, because the ass whooping Shane has coming to him. It's going to cost him his entire trust fund. So enjoy that, Shano.
His Vince is going to cut him off.
Yeah, probably. It's like, son, I raise humans, not vegetables. Damn it. So there you go.
Oh my God, you went there.
I did.
Okay, well, we agree that AJ's winning, and we agree that Shane is going to catch the beating of his life. So let's move on. Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
I'm sorry for laughing. I'm taking this match seriously, I promise. It's just, I'm thinking about my conversation with Ella about the cash-in, and her just being like, nobody messes with Jinder, Daddy. And I know she's thinking the same thing about this match.
I know me to do my official prediction first, or do you want to go first?
You go first, man. What's your official prediction?
Nakamura wins, Corbin cashes in.
So you're really committed to the idea that Corbin's getting his briefcase back?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Either Nakamura wins and Corbin cashes in, or Nakamura wins via DQ or countout or some other way that doesn't transfer the title.
And see, I wish Corbin...
So overall, my prediction is Nakamura wins. It just depends on how he wins.
See, and if Corbin still had the fucking briefcase, I would agree with you. And maybe that was WWE's thinking, to be fair, on some level. Maybe they're like, no, they're expecting Corbin to cash in because he's had all these interactions with Shinsuke, and who better to cash in than a guy that he has very recent history with. That said, I don't think they're that thoughtful at the end of the day. So I'm going to agree with actually your latter prediction. Shinsuke wins, yes, but it's going to be by DQ. I think Jinder knows he's outmatched. They still haven't done anything narratively about the Singh brothers, so unless Nakamura does that before the match,
that's a dumb thing. Like, the Singh brothers provide literally no value to Jinder aside from helping him cheat, and WWE officials haven't called him out on it yet. Like, even in kayfabe, that's stupid. For
sure. And that stupidity, I think, yeah, for realsies. But yeah, I totally think Nakamura is going to win, but by that DQ situation. And yeah, then I don't know what's going to happen in Hell in a Cell. I'm leaning towards a fatal four-way if Cena would come back in time, or maybe at the very least, if he didn't come back in time, a triple threat with Nakamura, Jinder, and Baron, because in a triple threat, it's nice when the babyface is outmatched 2-1. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to agree with your latter prediction. Nakamura wins by disqualification.
All right, let's move on then to our main event of the evening. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Braun versus Samoa Joe.
You know what? Here's the thing. I am really looking forward to this match, but the problem is I've been kind of all over the place, not even in terms of my prediction. I'll get to that in a second. But like with my hype and thinking about possibilities, because I'm like, oh, well, you know, the whole Brock and John Jones thing. But let me quash that right now. Let me put that to bed immediately. I don't doubt that the fight could happen in the future, but the way the UFC operates, they take months, first of all, to get a card together and then to build a fight. They're not just going to do it immediately. If it's Jones-Lesnar, those are two of the biggest stars that they have. They are going to take their dear sweet time building that shit up. So Lesnar, I think, still has a good bit of time. I also want to put out there, I said I was going to mention No Mercy. I already kind of have with other Raw matches, but this is the big one. The rumor right now is that Strowman's going to get a one-on-one match with Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at No Mercy. With that being said, because they didn't explicitly say who's the champion, that really makes your best bet either Lesnar retaining or Strowman winning. Now, here's the thing. I'm the biggest fan of Strowman and Joe as it relates to this match. Everybody knows how I feel about Roman, and quite honestly, I'm getting tedious of Lesnar. I think Joe's work has been exemplary, putting his performance of Great Balls of Fire aside. I think he's delivered consistently on the mic, and to me, he still comes off as a badass, and Braun as well. Braun, I think he's the single best act on Monday Night Raw right now. He's dominant. I think when he does big things, a lot of people care. A lot of people. I think he's got his finger on the pulse. I do think he should be Universal Champion. So yeah, just the idea how UFC operates with its promotion, you know they're not going to shotgun Jones-Lesnar, so Lesnar doesn't need to leave right this second. You can take your dear sweet fucking time with that. I'm going to say he retains, but you know what, though? Don't be surprised if when we come back here next month for No Mercy, if I'm saying Braun Strowman becomes Universal Champion, because I think Braun's time's coming sooner rather than later. I just don't think this soon. So I'm going to say Brock Lesnar wins, but I think we'd all be foolish to kind of turn an eye to Strowman, especially at No Mercy. I'm just going to say that right now. So, partner, I'm actually really curious where you are with this match, because I know you've been saying for a long time that you think Lesnar's retaining, but we all have those last-minute changes. You know I do all the time. So are you still thinking that, or where are you with this match?
Yeah, spoiler alert, I'm not waffling on this one. Brock's retaining.
So just straight up, Brock's still your Universal Champion. Okay, then. All right.
Well, the thing is, like, it's a four-way. So, like, I saw someone say that it was going to be, like, where was it? In chat, someone said that it was going to be, like, a stupid finish. Clusterfuck ending. That's what it was. Keep it cohesive. Yeah, that's probably true in the sense that everyone's going to be hitting finishers on everyone, but Brock is going to be the first person to eat a finisher, and by the time the last person is going for the pin, he is going to have recovered. He's going to break up the pin. He's going to hit an F5, and the match is going to be over. Right. It's probably going to be Joe. You know, like, everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, Joe is totally about to pin Roman Reigns, you guys. And then Brock's going to be like, no, F5, Brock wins.
Yeah, and see, like somebody even mentioned, I forgot to bring that up as well. I too read the Barclays Center spoiler where they're like, "Oh, Brock's going to be on the Raw after SummerSlam." Why would he be on the Raw after SummerSlam if he lost? Because Paul was explicit, like he's out of here. I don't see why you'd show up if you're out of here. My only saving grace at the beginning when this match was announced was if you've got 4 guys, Brock doesn't have to eat the pin or the submission. He can be protected that way because 25% odds and all that crap. But I agree with you. I think Lesnar's retaining. I think the real ambiguity, again, and I'm going to double down, I think the real ambiguity actually lies at No Mercy. Because I'm not going to quickly say that Lesnar's going to run through Strowman. Not with the role that Strowman's been on. I could see Strowman beating Lesnar one-on-one. Will I feel that way when we get to No Mercy preview and predictions? Maybe, maybe not. But in this moment, that's what I'm really excited for, is No Mercy. Here, I think it's actually pretty clear cut, and there are 3 guys. I'm more concerned about Brock when it's just the one guy, because the one guy's Braun Strowman at No Mercy. So, yeah, Lesnar to retain, and then talk to me again when we get that match, because then I think we'll really have something to talk about.
Absolutely, yeah. So, do I want to go into a full-blown Scott Steiner-style rant on Samoa Joe, since we know that Brock is beating Joe on Sunday?
So you think Joe's going to eat the pin again? Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind.
It's such
because it sure as hell isn't going to be Roman or Braun.
It's such a shame too, because like I'm gonna make a confession. I can get where people are coming from with Kevin Owens, where it's like, why has he become so boring? Because while I still enjoy him, I feel like he has slowed down a bit. But I can't say that about Joe. I still think Joe's been insanely good for me. And that's why I'm only saying that, because I think it's a shame he's being done like this, because I think he's been killing it with promos. He's been killing it with the intensity. And I think they're kind of taking advantage of that a little bit, which is why, like, I'm not even disagreeing with you. It's just like I'm kind of sighing about it this way, because You're not even wrong. And it's like, why you got to do Joe like this, man? Because I don't think he's slowed down like a Kevin Owens or maybe some other action one. If anything, I think he's been picking it up finally, and I've been like really loving it. So like, why you got to do him like this? But yeah, if you want to do your Scott Steiner rant, pour salt in that wound. I mean, go ahead, because WWE's already done it. They put the whole shaker down there, for God's sake. So there you go.
Samoa Joe! You see, normally when you go one-on-one with another man, you got a 50-50 chance of winning. But Brock Lesnar, he's a freak. He's not a normal man. So you got a 25% at best on Sunday of beating Brock Lesnar. And we've got to also take into account that this isn't even a triple threat match. This is a 4-way match. And Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns, no, they can't beat Brock Lesnar, and they're not even going to try. So you got about a 12% chance at winning. So if you take your 25% chance minus your 12% chance, you got about a 13% chance of winning at SummerSlam on Sunday. But if you take Brock's 75% chance added together with his 87% chance in a 4-way, you're talking about 163% chance of Brock Lesnar winning on Sunday at SummerSlam. Senior Joe, don't lie, and they spell disaster for you at SummerSlam.
All that being said, while I don't disagree with a word of whatever the fuck it was you just said, if Joe or Strowman win this match, it's going to be one of my personal best live reactions in a while. Because holy fuck, I adore those two. But Lesnar's going to kill my dreams like always. Because that seems to be the WWE, kind of mindset, the motto. Where dreams get killed, and we laugh. So, yeah, thank God for Lucha Underground and New Japan, folks, because at least they gave us a Wrestle Kingdom or a G1 winner for a Wrestle Kingdom main event we can all be excited about. Am I right? But, yeah, Brock's retaining. This SummerSlam, I'm still at like an 8.5, so maybe because so many people that I love are doing big things, and they do have a chance to win, I guess. And I can't, I don't know, the kid in me is stirred up, and he's not going away anytime soon. But the adult in me will reel his head during live reactions, wishing he had a drink in hand when I see the booking decisions unfold. And I ask myself, why isn't it Wednesday yet? Why am I not seeing Johnny Mundo once again beat the shit out of Rey Mysterio's son, who he didn't even raise properly because he too is a piece of shit? These are going to be the questions that matter to me on Sunday, I'm sure. But that's our SummerSlam.
Here's my thing. You're the biggest Johnny Mundo fan I know. I only have one question.
Yeah.
When are you going to start watching GFW now that he's on there?
Here's the thing. I've been getting Twitter questions about that, and they're like, oh, what are you going to do? And apparently, he's Johnny Impact now, which You know, what do you say to that? I mean, I'd love to kind of pull Johnny aside and be like, you know you're you, right? You know you have actual prospects.
You know
right?
he didn't elect to go there, right? Like, this was a straight-up order from management in AAA asking him to do it. And he was just like, you know, if it makes you happy and I get a payday, whatever.
He sounds so uncomfortable in your headcanon. Poor Johnny. It's like he doesn't even want to look at them during, which I don't even blame him. It's Global Force Wrestling. God. Yeah, I don't know. If it's an order from AAA, which I have to believe it is, because, I mean, again, Johnny's doing just fine right now. If anything, Global Force Wrestling needs him, not the other way around. And I'd say the same easily for Taya.
Oh, speaking of Global Force Wrestling, guess who else is there now?
Who?
Jim Cornette.
Oh, I saw that. You know what, though? I'm kind of happy for Corny. I think he wanted back in the business, and it's so
No, he didn't, though. That's the thing. He's been saying for years that he would never work at TNA ever again, and now he's back there.
Well, then who brought him back there? Like, is he just a hypocrite?
Probably Dutch Mantel. Yeah, they're good friends.
Yeah, I mean... You need to sneak into our creative meetings, Jim.
Oh my god. Dude, guys, you gotta realize, like, Dutch Mantel as Zeb Coulter hasn't been a thing in like 2 or 3 years, and John has been randomly saying like that, like, Zeb Coulter sneaking across our border reference, like, really weirdly frequently over the last week or two. Like, it's weird.
I don't know. You have iPod syndrome. I have promo syndrome. What can I say, man? We all have our issues. But yeah, look, with Johnny Mundo, I'm ride or die. I want him to thrive in any place he's in. The Global Force Championship picture is a fucking myth. Do you know who's actually the Global Force Champion? Okay, first of all...
Yes! Eli Drake!
Yeah, the same guy that you're like is one of the most dangerous people, is fucking awful. He's world fucking champion. So, you know what? Johnny, if AAA put a gun to your head, brother, I love you. We'll provide counsel for you. We're here for you. And Taya both. Okay? You don't need to, and first of all, if it is an order from AAA, fuck AAA. However, if it is your own decision to do this, if you and Taya just said, you know what, let's check this place out, then you guys are every bit the humanitarians that I believed you to be, because this is charity work that even makes Bill Gates fucking blush, and I wish you all the best with it. I really, really do. Win all the titles, elevate that shit show that they have the audacity to actually call a promotion with a straight face in board meetings, and keep showing people why you're two of the best in the world. You guys wanted my thoughts on it. There it is. I'm always going to root for Johnny, even if I don't always agree with it, but I don't even know the motives behind it, whether it's him or AAA. If it's him, he's a goddamn humanitarian that we should be calling the second coming of Jesus. If it's AAA, well, scumbag promotion's going to scumbag. So there you go.
Okay, I think that about closes everything that we had to say today up. What do you think?
Yeah, I've said all that I can say about SummerSlam. I really enjoyed hashing out all these matches with you. Corbin Cena was kind of painful, as was the Universal Championship, but all pain subsides, right? So we'll see what happens on Sunday.
Absolutely, guys. This has been a lot of fun. I got to cut a Steiner promo. John got to rant about the state of GFW. We got to make fun of Eli Drake and Jim Cornette. And we got to predict all of the horrible decisions WWE is going to make on Sunday. It was a good time. We will see you all tomorrow night for the Superior show, albeit not by a significant amount. Brooklyn 3. And I do believe that our next takeover is in November. Is going to be NXT TakeOver Houston. So that should be a lot of fun. Hopefully that'll be the culmination of the Dusty Classic. And of course, we will also be making, at least I'm pretty sure we will be making, a Mae Young Classic bracketology video on Monday afternoon. We'll see how that works out. But until then, guys, we are going to see you all tomorrow for NXT, and then, of course, Sunday for live reactions to SummerSlam. All enjoyed this, and if you did, remember to leave a like. Remember to like the video. It helps us, and it creates a snowball effect. The more likes people see, the more likely they are to like the video. Leave a comment once this video gets fully processed, letting us know what your predictions are for SummerSlam. We're definitely curious and want to know what our fans think of the WWE's booking and what they're going to choose to do, and whether they're going to make good decisions or if they're going to do what I think and just make all the worst decisions. Of course, also remember to subscribe if you haven't already. And then once you do subscribe, you can click the little bell notification that pops up after you click the subscribe button. And once you click that, you'll be able to get notified anytime we go live or upload a video. Much more likely that we go live than upload anything anytime soon. Of course, you can support us on either Patreon or Teespring. With Teespring, it's just a simple matter of buying merch. You can buy a t-shirt, you can buy a mug, you can buy a sticker. We have a bunch of different designs up, and we will hopefully be adding at least one more before the end of the summer. And on Patreon, you can donate a certain amount of money for certain kinds of rewards. The lowest amount of money that you can donate to get a reward is $3 a month. And if you do that, we will give you exclusive access to the official TwitWow patron Discord, which is basically a really close, tight-knit community of TwitWow fans, as well as John and myself. And we talk about everything. We talk about wrestling. We talk about Dragon Ball Z. We talk about movies. We talk about music. We talk about video games. It really is kind of the ultimate fan experience. If you are a fan of TwitWow and you want to get to know John and myself even better than you've been able to get to know us over the last year with Q&As, Discord is easily your best option. So check out the Discord. It's still only $3 a month. And then the other option, as far as what your donations can get you to the Patreon, are requests. You are able to request a review and live reaction combination, or if you want to go a little bit less expensive, you can just request a live reaction from us, and you can make that request for any wrestling show that you want, whether it's old WCW, whether it's old WWF, whether it's more recent WWE, but something that happened before John and I started doing TwitWow and live reacting and stuff, whether it's old ECW, whether it's current stuff like PWG. We actually have 3 PWG shows that have happened since the last PWG show that we live reacted to that we have not seen yet. So if you guys want to donate to get us to live react to PWG shows, and I can even tell you the names of the ones that have happened that we haven't reacted to yet. It's Head Like a Coal, or Head Like a Coal, Game Over Man, and Man on Silver Mountain. All 3 of those are different PWG shows that have happened since our last PWG live reaction that we haven't live reacted to, that we haven't gotten any requests to. And I think that before long, we're going to end up just watching those shows without live reacting to them, which would kind of make live reactions pointless, and we don't want that to happen. So we're just kind of holding out, hoping that we get some kind of a donation for those PWG shows. But until then, we aren't going to be live reacting to them because they really don't get any kind of traction on YouTube. People don't give a shit about PWG on YouTube for whatever reason, so there's no reason for us to PWG content unless it's specifically requested by a patron, I should say. Patreon is the website. A patron is the person who uses Patreon to make donations. So yeah, those are your options on Patreon for your options as far as support goes. And of course, remember to follow us both on Twitter, like the Facebook page, and if you are on Reddit, check out the official Twitter subreddit. We do have one other thing that I would like to let everyone remind everyone about. We do have a Q&A this month on the 31st. It's the last day of the month. It's the last Thursday of the month. It is in 13 days from today, and we will be answering all of the questions that were asked over the course of the month of August. We already have like 40 or something like that. It's crazy how many we already have, and we just want to be a freaking vacuum and just vacuum up all the questions so that we can answer them all on the 31st. It's going to be a lot of fun. All that being said, though, guys, we will see you tomorrow night. And we hope that NXT delivers. They tend to under-promise and over-deliver over the course of the last year as far as their takeover cards go. And we will see you then. But, of course, if we're going to see you then, you've got to remember